Prue Simmons is the National Coordinator for the Wild Futures Program at Conservation Volunteers Australia. Prue joins me today to talk about some of Australia's most endangered species and how we can all get involved to help. Hi Prue, thank you for joining me today.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now tell me, what does Conservation Volunteers do and what's it all about?
Okay, so Conservation Volunteers is one of Australia's largest not-for-profit environmental volunteering organisations. So we started from very humble beginnings 30 years ago in country Victoria, but we've now expanded to 25 offices across Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
And we're all about connecting people with the environment. So we're the people, you know, there's lots of organisations out there that do great things for the environment. They raise awareness, they run campaigns, they maybe help with policy change. But we're the organisation that take people out there and get the practical stuff done on the ground, whether that's planting trees or pulling weeds or building fences. So we're engaging people with the environment.
Nice. Now the Wild Futures Program, which you specifically coordinate, what does that do then, and how does that all fit into the picture?
Sure. So as well as all the volunteering, we have a couple of other environmental programs, and Wild Futures is one of those. So we have our NatureWise eco-accredited nature holidays, and then our Wild Futures Threatened Species Program. Now with Wild Futures, this is a way that we're trying to save some of Australia's most treasured and threatened species. So it's a program that we've put together. We've identified 12 specific species that are in urgent need of assistance. And we're working together, taking volunteers out. We work with recovery teams, with scientists, with researchers, universities, zoos, to work out the most practical actions that we can implement to help save the species.
Okay, and what are some of those species?
So we have quite a range of species, which is really great. As part of the 12, we've got species ranging right across Australia. So from tree kangaroos in far north Queensland, right across to Carnaby's cockatoos in Western Australia, from sea turtles up in the Northern Territory to eastern bud bandicoots and growling grass frogs in Victoria, superb parrots in New South Wales, southern hairy-nosed wombats in South Australia. So there's something in every state that we're putting our efforts towards and trying to help save. Oh,
lovely. And this month, so you have a month, don't you, where you sort of feature one species that we can all help. And this is the Tassie Devil this month?
It is indeed. It's Tassie Devil month this month. So, of course, this is a species that has, it's a bit of a tragic story because it's gone from being a really, really common species to highly endangered in a short space of time. And, of course, that's very much due to the deadly sort of facial cancerous and contagious disease that they have called devil facial tumour disease. And this is something that in 1996 they saw a couple of individuals with strange growths on their faces in the sort of northeast of Tasmania, and now they're finding populations where 95% of the population has disappeared because of this. So it's a fast-acting disease. It affects them and is usually quite deadly for those that have it within 3 to 8 months.
Okay.
So it's a really quick disease. And so what Conservation Volunteers Australia is doing is working with Bonorong Wildlife Park, which is about half an hour out of Hobart. And we're working with them. They've got a fantastic captive breeding program. So it's all about trying to save the healthy populations that we have and captively breed them, make them, you know, grow up in numbers. So we're working with Bonorong Wildlife Park out there, helping them make enclosures and maintain enclosures so they can expand their breeding program.
Okay. And how do, so those that are out there with the disease, is there a cure for that? Or?
At the moment there's not, unfortunately. Scientists are really working quite hard to try to find the cause of it, try to find how to stop it, how to minimise its spread. They think it's spread across perhaps 75% of Tasmania at this stage. So at the moment it is a race against time. And we're very much focusing on trying to save the ones that we can save. So creating quarantine populations and insurance populations. There's even populations that we have on the mainland of Australia now that we're working with, try to breed all of them up so that we don't lose the species entirely.
And you mentioned as well the southern hairy-nosed wombat is facing a similar plight.
That's right, yeah. Just recently we've actually discovered that there's a disease affecting southern hairy-nosed wombats in South Australia, which is a little bit scary. It's very similar to, you know, some of the drastic effects that we're finding in Tasmanian Devil. It's a completely different disease though, but we are still trying to work out exactly what's causing it. With the southern hairy-nosed wombats, it tends to be, they're suffering things like hair loss, they get these terrible lesions on their skin, they become dehydrated and emaciated, and then we're finding that they get liver failure and that we're having a lot of deaths in local populations. So it's happening in some populations of wombats, but not all of them. So it's now kind of a race against time, another one, to try to find what's causing that. They think it might be a toxic weed.
Oh, okay.
So the floods that
Yep.
have come through have
Okay.
actually spread a whole lot of weed species.
Yep.
Their natural grass hasn't regenerated very well.
Okay.
And so they're forced to eat things like potato weed and onion weed, and this may actually be causing these effects. So.
Right, so not so dissimilar from humans in that, you know, there's all these diseases that they're facing as well, and they need our help.
Absolutely.
To fight them. So how can people get involved in both, I guess, your program and conservation volunteers?
There's lots of ways that people can get involved. They can head to our website to get more information, but we'd love to get people involved in a hands-on way. Come and roll up your sleeves and help these amazing animals so they can come out and volunteer. Or we're also a not-for-profit, so we do rely on the generous donations of people to keep our work going. So if people head to the website, which is wildfutures.com.au, and that's also part of our Conservation Volunteers website as well, so they can get more information on conservation volunteers. All you need is to come out for a day and help us make these practical, fantastic differences, or open up your purse and help us out in a financial sense. We appreciate both.
Well, it sounds like a great way to spend your weekends really out there helping the animals. So we'll put the website up on the screen so people can get involved. Now, our quick 5-question quiz for you. If there was one thing that you would do to change the world, what would it be?
Convince people that we are having a massive effect on the planet. I think a lot of people aren't aware just what actions they're having and how that's causing such effects. You know, scientists are causing this period of time that we're living in the 6th great extinction, in the sense that in planetary history there have been 5 huge events that have caused massive amounts of extinctions for our wildlife and our ecosystems. Ice ages or, you know, meteorite collisions. And this is actually, we're having such a planetary scale now as one species. It's pretty amazing to think that we're having that change. So just getting people to think about, you know, things like how we are affecting the climate of the globe and things we can do to actually minimise that.
Okay, now what's the best thing about living in Australia?
Oh, there are so many things. But I would have to say, being a wildlife ecologist, that I just love the amazing landscapes we have and the unique wildlife. You know, what other country in the world has 2 egg-laying mammals that are millions of years old, and they're just amazing, and it's on our back doorstep.
Yep, we are a lucky country
Very
indeed.
much.
Your most inspiring person?
There have been a lot that have inspired me and helped shape my career in life, but it would have to be good old David Attenborough.
Yes,
he's
a regular here.
I bet he would be. That's how inspiring he is, good old Mr. Attenborough. But he's been so instrumental in bringing the natural world into people's lounge rooms, in exposing them to ecosystems they would never experience themselves or even know about.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the struggle in getting people to want to help save something, is knowing about it first.
Yes.
So it's really helpful for us who are out there trying to save these species to have people in their lounge rooms learning about the amazing natural world that we share our planet with.
Indeed.
So definitely very inspirational for me.
Here's now best book.
I was very lucky a few years ago to meet and have a chat with David Suzuki, who is another one of my heroes, and it's great when your heroes live up to the expectations that you put on them. But he's written a book recently called The Legacy, An Elder's Vision for a Sustainable Future, and it's a fantastic book. It's only a short book, 100 pages, really quick one, but it's a book about the enormous challenges that we face and the pressures we're putting on Earth's ecosystems. And how we need to sort of form together and get together as one single species and really look at how we address these problems and help minimise them. So,
and that probably leads in then to your top eco tip.
My top eco tip would be live like your grandma did.
Yes.
So, you know, think about ways that I think that our society is really, you know, obsessed with consumer-driven society and convenience, and that's great, but I think it's having a big effect on our overall health and the health of the planet. So I think if we have a bit of a think about making better choices, you know, with what we buy. Do we really need to buy something?
Absolutely.
Can we mend it instead? Do we really need to throw something out? You know, eating fresh food. We're in such a great country where we can grow our own produce. So, and just
back in
thinking
time
about
a little bit.
how to live a bit more sustainably.
Absolutely. Maybe leave the hair dye, the blue hair dye out of it.
That's right. No blue rinse.
No blue rinse. Thank you very much for joining me today, Prue. So don't forget, you can go to the Conservation Volunteers website and the Wild Futures website. But that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week for more Eco News headlines and another special guest.